From the City of Angels, you're listening to the James Salazar Media Podcast. On today's episode, we're going to talk about politics and futurism. So let me strike the music, and I'll meet you on the other side.
It's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind.
Say hello to my little friend.
No, I am your father.
I'd like to take this chance to apologize to absolutely nobody.
And welcome to the James Salazar Media Podcast, where you get your weekly dose of pop culture, politics, and futurism. I am the formerly mentioned James Salazar, a.k.a. the media, the new media, the true media. Now, you might wonder what I mean by the media. You know, the news today, especially we see in this election cycle, they're very opinionated. It's no longer just giving you the news. It is tainted by their political whims or influences. So you're not getting the true news. And that's what the media is. Well, then I'm the media. I'll give you my opinion. So that's my opinion on my opinion. Whatever. So crazy. We're seeing some craziness. We just came out of the Democratic convention, which was, it had its moments, it's had its highlights, and it had its downlights, or its ups and downs, as some people will say. But yeah, I mean, what can I say? We know that Zoom has won the streaming wars, streaming meetings. I mean, go to meeting, Google Hangouts. I mean, who uses Skype anymore, right? Who? I don't know nobody. Uses Skype anymore. I think Zoom is one. They're the champion until somebody comes out with a better product, and that's the way to go. Whether you're going to do meetings, conferences, you know, hangouts with your friends, whatever. Zoom is where to go. And I have to say, I'm not being paid by Zoom to say this. It's just a freaking fact. We know that the Republican Party is going to use Zoom as well. So the dog is out on that one. So it was a very interesting. And I'm going to get to the Republican National Convention on the next podcast, which we're right in the middle of. Just going to talk about the Democratic today and cover some futurism news. I said that already. But we have Kamala Harris, Vice President nominee, and Joe Biden, presidential nominee. They both had, in their respective times in front of the camera, they both did fairly well. But the highlight of the convention was definitely Michelle Obama. Unfortunately for the Democratic convention, it was very light on policy and very heavy on Donald Trump is bad. And Joe Biden is good. He bad, me good. That's basically the platform for the Democratic Party. They really, you know, when you really look at it, they would have done, not that Donald Trump did a great job with the virus. And some say he has. But the fact of the matter is that Democrats would have been 100% worse. When he closed down the freaking country and stopped people coming in from another country through the plane, they all called him xenophobic and a racist. They would have never done that. They would have kept people from China keep on coming over and people who've been to China coming over to our country because of identity politics. Nancy Pelosi literally set a date in Chinatown in San Francisco, hug a Chinese person today to show how not racist you are. That was a disaster probably for some people. And she wanted it to go nationwide. Well, that would have been a very bad calculation. And their identity politics makes them make terrible decisions. No one really thinks that Kamala Harris should have that job. She's put more black people in jail than anybody out there. I mean, she was a ruthless prosecutor. I mean, she hid evidence to keep people in jail. She didn't give a flying F. I don't feel like cussing today, but I might do it later if I get riled up. But we know now that Joe Biden can and will be pressured by identity politics and anybody who has the loudest voice and have those influences be the major influences on the decisions that he makes. Now, he doesn't need to be like Donald Trump and get in everybody's face and comment on about everything that anybody says wrong about him, but he has to have somewhat of a backbone. His motivation should be to do what's right, even in his own eyes, but he's not doing what is right in his own eyes. He is kowtowing to people who are pressuring him to do stuff. And that is not presidential, for sure. I got a burp. Chewy cover for me right there. But, so that was basically in the earlier parts of the convention during the day where nobody's watching, it was the most radical parts of the Democratic platform. And then when they got later on into the night, it slowly got more patriotic, more pro-America, and more religious, which does not move Democratic voters very much. That is an appeal to the middle of the country, because whoever takes the middle, whoever can convince the middle that they're going to do a better job will win, because a third of the country is going to vote Democrat no matter what. A third of the country is going to vote Republican no matter what. And the third in the middle will decide for everyone who's going to be president. And Joe Biden is not taking. I mean, we know now. They like to blame it on Russia, but the fact of the matter is that Hillary Clinton lost the states she did not campaign in, which gave him an electoral college lead that she couldn't make up. And we know after the fact that, you got to go for everybody. You just can't depend on California, New York, and Florida and Texas to make the election. You got to go to everywhere. This is why the electoral college exists, so people who may not have a say. You can't have two cities in the country making all the policies, because we're a United States, and those cities depend upon food, on the parts of the nation where there may not be the same political ideologies, and if you ignore them and you go by the popular vote of all the people crammed in, 40 million people crammed in California, and mostly in LA, San Francisco, and maybe San Diego, I don't know. If those are the people who are running the country or picking the president, we're no longer going to be United States anymore. People are going to say, why don't you freaking make your own metal? Why don't you freaking farm your own food? And then what are those people in those cities that are crammed together? What are they going to do? They're going to kill each other for resources. So you have to play with everybody else. And the electoral college sort of makes everybody a part of the process. So we know now that's why she lost. The states where she could have easily won those electoral colleges, maybe not easily, she didn't bother. And if you don't bother, you're going to lose that state. She didn't think she needed it. Maybe because she thought she had it in the pocket. But that was a very bad and stupid calculation. Now we have Joe Biden, who's not doing any interviews. All right? Because everybody suspects this cognitive decline. I feel like I'm having cognitive design right now.
I am a robot.
I digress. I don't think he's going to go to state and do rallies. I think what he did there was practiced over a month. Because when you saw him speaking, when I look into his eyes, when he was giving his address and his acceptance for the nomination for the Democratic Party for president, you can see in his eyes like he was barely holding on, that any moment he was going to crack and stumble. But he held on. I give him props. But you can see it in his face and in his eyes that he ain't the Joe that he used to be. Absolutely not. And that party is not unified at all. AOC didn't even mention Joe Biden because you sort of have to, part of their process that, you know, a delegate has to come up and say Bernie Sanders did his part to be part of the list of people to be nominated. All right, and there has to be some declarative statement, which was given to AOC. But she didn't mention Joe Biden once. She could have said, we know now that Joe Biden is the president, but we're still going to honor and say Bernie Sanders did what he was supposed to do, and now he's for the president, whatever. But she didn't mention his name at once, and there's the divide that thinks that the Democratic Party is not left enough. And we can see that in that speech. We also, Michelle Obama didn't even mention Kamala Harris, the first black vice president, woman. She didn't even mention it in her speech. And I know people say she made it before the announcement. That's such a historical event. You redo it. I understand the one she gave was awesome, but you put some kind of addendum or something. But she didn't bother to mention her name once. And that shows some weakness. But overall, Joe Biden seemed like a prop. That he looks like a paper tiger. He looks like he is functioning like a Medvedev, the old president of Russia where Putin had to come down for a couple of years just to look legit, and they put him in there, and he won. But he took all his orders. Everybody knows he took all his orders from Putin. So it was like a fake presidency, and this is basically what's going on. And he's going to be run ragged by the far left section of his party. And they're going to beat him down, and he's going to do what they say. And that may not, and these people are anti-free speech, and they're anti-constitution, and they're anti-capitalism. They still believe like children that communism still works. And it would be a disaster if he won, but neither here nor there. I don't think they did the good enough job. Basically, I don't even think. Let me tell you my opinion, true opinion. I don't think they expect to win I think they went up there to put up Michelle Obama, and she's going to be the next nominee for the party because she has the very nice, tactful way to tell you how bad America is and look good doing it. Like her husband. You would talk shit about America, but he said it in a way where you thanked him for it. Well, not me, but most of the people. And she gave a great speech, Michelle Obama. And she over-exaggerated and lied completely over a certain subject and decided to talk about certain things instead of other things, of course, because it would be in a bad light how Barack Obama handled Ebola. Well, Ebola kills people in 2 days. It's not very hard to contain. But H1N1, he did a terrible job. 12,000 Americans died, and he didn't call it a pandemic till 6 months after. Donald Trump within 1 month. So she didn't bother to talk about that. She said something that was so disappointing that she says, I understand that people are not going to receive what I'm saying because of the color of my skin. Most of the people who are not, obviously there is going to be people who are not going to do that, but that's not the majority of the people. Majority of the people who don't agree to, who don't like what you're saying, disagree based on policy and values. And it's insulting at the implication that I disagree with them and other people disagree with her because of the skin color. Now, there's some hicks, some backwater white trash who probably hate her because of her skin. I'm not saying that's not impossible. I would never say there's no racism in America. That's stupid. That's childish. But is there any kind of racism that keep people back from being success? No, those ended with the great Martin Luther King. That doesn't mean there's not going to be no racists. Of course there's going to be racists. You can't control what people think, nor do I want to. I want to influence what people think. I want to teach people how they should think, but I don't want to force them and hide and cancel them if they don't agree with what I believe. That's a height of insecurity. And it is totalitarian, fascist, and authoritarian to force people to think as you think, to speak as you speak. That's what makes America great, that we all get along because we don't all have to believe the same. We don't all have to believe the same religion. We don't have to all believe the same politics. We all don't really have to have all the same values, other than the value of free speech and liberty. And there we have the crutch of the problem, right? Some people still believe that the jury's out on whether it's better to control people through force or have people govern themselves. People are truly convinced that people need to be controlled. And, our governor believes that. He doesn't bet on our better nature. He'd rather control us through laws that are unconstitutional and shut down our economy. Today I signed a measure to repeal him because this sets a precedent that a governor can shut down an economy, shut down people's activity, force people to wear masks, which is completely unconstitutional. And this president said that he can do that for whatever reason he thinks. A virus that has a 2% mortality rate can shut down the whole nation. It's not very good. And California and places where Democratic run states were the most totalitarian. And not only that, people were willing to go along. In the beginning, nobody everybody self-quarantined. Everybody was afraid, and you didn't need to have laws. Some cities did, but not all. They hoped on the better nature of people. But then there was a protest, and I understand there's a need to protest. But what he did, the governor of California, he blamed the second wave of coronavirus cases on entrepreneurs and customers instead of the obvious millions of people walking in the streets. There was literally 500,000 people, close to 1 million, in the streets of Hollywood, and they were not social distancing, and at least half of them weren't wearing masks. And lo and behold, there was a second wave. But then he went back and shut the economy, shut gyms, and blamed it on people having parties and churches, and not put the responsibility where the responsibility relies, on the protesters. And I think protesters, give me liberty or give me death, right? It's an American tradition to risk your life for a cause, especially one for liberty, especially one against police brutality and government oppression. I'm for that, but let's not fool ourselves that that's where the second wave comes. And he decided, I don't understand. He just decided to shut down the whole economy again. So I'm voting him out. Hopefully we can get 2 million votes to put him on the November ballot to recall him. We need someone with a more clear head. Excuse me, I'm burping. A more clear head. A less totalitarian, authoritarian strain within them. That they are going to withhold the Constitution. They're not going to choose which right to assembly is for all. And you can assembly in the streets, or you can assembly in church, or you can assembly in a restaurant. He should not have to say it is not in his power or in his purview to do that. And he did it. And it's going to open California up to many lawsuits, which they will lose in the Supreme Court, especially now that they're stacked against them. Liberal ideals. So, back to the what do you call it? The Democratic convention. So it was very disappointing for, Michelle Obama to say things like that, because they beat the odds. There are privileges in our society, and we're like white privilege. People have been fighting over this subject. I'm not going to be stupid enough to say there's no white privilege, but there are many privileges in this country that far outweigh privileges that come from the color of your skin, like culture privilege. We see with the Asian communities that their culture, in some ways, are way more advanced than Hispanic or black culture, and even much of the white culture. They accept nothing less from their children but success and education. And this is why they make more money per capita than any other race in the United States. Family privilege. We know that a family that does not have a father in it, those kids, all the bad statistics start piling up against kids who do not have a father in their home. So if you're educated, if your father's in the home and your culture pushes you to success, those are the kind of privileges that some races and their culture don't have. Barack Obama and Michelle Obama, with just their education, their daughters have more privilege than some poor white kid. That's a fact. That's just a fucking fact. There you go. You got me in a cuss. I digress. But there are privileges that far away the color of your skin. I guess there's some privileges where white people can just walk into a place and say, hey, I'm white. What are my privileges? I don't know where those places are. I get it that certain white people don't go to jail as much as black people, but is that privilege, or is that the culture of minorities that have not come up, have not taken responsibility for their part? Obviously, police brutality is bullshit and it shouldn't happen, right? But cops are scared of certain races because they do a lot of crime and they police these places day in and day out, and they lose perspective. Now, I'm not giving them an excuse. If they make a bad decision, they should get fully prosecuted. But the fact of the matter is, you go into that. We know that black cops, Hispanic cops, can be some of the most brutal towards their own race in those communities. It's not about race. It's about culture. We got to change the culture of the police force, of course, of minority races who have music that denigrate women, glorify crime, glorify drug use, glorify killing each other. Nobody wants to be like a businessman. They want to be a rapper who's rich. Well, in the Asian community, they don't want to be rappers. They want to be entrepreneurs. And I don't even think their music talks about it. I don't think they have these, the entrepreneur music, whatever that might be, or whatever that might look like. It don't exist, and I don't think they have it. They just value it more. And values need to change to adjust. Values need to change in minority groups, even in the white community. They're losing their values. They're losing how they became successful. They're losing the more important privileges of education and of family. Now all they only have is their white privilege, and I don't know how far that gets them. It's now something that is not look good in society. And I don't know why you would want to give away your privilege. I mean, if someone told me, hey, check your privilege, I'm saying, I'm not going to check my privilege. I'm carrying that shit as long as I possibly can. And please teach me how to use my privilege, because I don't know how to use it. I never knew I had it. I mean, that's what I'd be saying if I was a poor white man. So we'll see if the Democratic Party did enough to sway people. I suspect that Joe Biden will not do any debates, even though he said he will. They'll find some reason somehow, and maybe Donald Trump might give him the reason. He might say something so stupid sometimes, he's not above it, that he gives him an out not to. I'm not gonna debate this such racist, insensitive person. Whatever the reason might be. Because if he goes up there and tries to debate Donald Trump, it's going to be a fist fight. He's going to attack, and Joe Biden better be sharp as a knife. I'm telling you, or he's going to look stupid, and the country is just going to wait. Even Democrats might just wait for another 4 years to get the nominee that they really want. So that's what I think of the convention. I'm not sure if they made the case, but most people are not into politics as much as I am, and they're really swayed by emotional arguments. And that's basically the argument the Democratic Party has. They have an emotional argument. Don't like this guy, like this guy. This guy mean, this guy is really likable. And that's why and this is how you should choose your president. Because Donald Trump says mean things, and Joe Biden says nice things, but actually, he hasn't. He said pretty racist shit in the past. So, I don't know how they're going to get past that, because Donald Trump's going to be hitting his political campaign are revving to hit hard. And what I've seen from the Republican convention, they're going strong. And we'll talk about it next time. But let's get into some futurism news. Okay, so we got some futurism news that has basically caught my eye, and I want to go over them. Let's go into some advanced transportation. We got some competitors to Tesla. and they're making their presence known. Tesla competitor claims its car will be the fastest charging EV ever. Electric car company Lucid Motors, write that down, claimed that its Lucid Air luxury sedan will be the fastest charging electric vehicle ever offered, with a capacity to charge at rates up to 20 miles per minute, according to press releases. That's about 300-mile range in just a 20-minute charge, according to the company, which is pretty big deal out of its upcoming four-door sedan right now. Lucid announced the vehicle will have a whopping 517 miles range on a single charge, beating Tesla's current range S model with an estimate of 402 miles. So they're putting Tesla on their heels. Let's see if this get. Let's see. We need to really see how it looks, because well, hold on. Let me check right here. Let me just copy, and then we're going to pay. What the hell? Get onto Safari. Paste. Let me paste. Let's push. No, I want to paste. Paste. Boom. Enter. And images. Oh, this is a very nice looking car. It looks like a BMW to me. Not bad. Sleek. Yeah, it looks like a BMW. Got one long light in front. It says 400 miles. Let's see what this. They have a little thing here. It says over a 400-mile range, under 2.5, 0 to 60, and over 200 miles per hour. Okay, it looks nice, people. It looks nice. They're doing a good job on that look. Also, we got another competitor. We have Hydro, and this one's very interesting. Hydro, this beast of a hydrogen power hypercar, has a 1,000-mile range. Take a big breath before I read. I shouldn't have talked in the middle of my breath. California-based tech company Hyperion has unveiled a Hyperion XP1, a hydrogen fuel cell powered hypercar with an advertised range of 1,000 miles and a top speed of 221 miles, and can launch from 0 to 60 in 2.2 seconds. Not bad. Those are without a doubt impressive specs, but its main purpose isn't to take on Tesla. It's not head to head. It's trying to generate interest in hydrogen power, according to the company. There is enough car companies, says Angelo, CEO. Should I try to pronounce this? Cafantaris? Angelo Cafantaris, CEO. We're an energy company that is building a car to tell a story. Instead of relying on extremely heavy lithium-ion batteries, the XP1 generates power from a large tank of hydrogen, driving two powerful electric motors, lowers curb weight, more power, and longer range. Apart from the way it is currently generated, 95% of all hydrogen is produced from steam reforming of natural gas. Hydrogen is also extremely environmental friendly to use as a fuel source. The byproducts are literally just water and not greenhouse gases. So they're building a badass car. The car does look badass. They're called Hyperion, and they just built this car just to show off the awesomeness of hydrogen power, which kicks lithium battery power's ass. So we'll see if that happens. And what else we have here? Yeah, we know lucid claims. And there's one other thing I wanted to read. Whatever. Let's get on. Let's get on with it. Artificial intelligence. Oh my goodness. Artificial and AI just confirmed the existence of 50 planets by digging through NASA data. The machine learning algorithm just confirms the existence of 50 new planets is a world first. The team behind the algorithm with Warwick University fed a huge data set originating from NASA's now retired Kepler mission and transiting exoplanet survey satellite, a space telescope that launched in 2018. The scientists are hoping that the research could pave the way to finding more planets. So they found it. The AI found 50 planets pretty quick. We'll see. They're trying to find a Earth-type planet, so someday we could try to go out there and extend the human race out into space, just in case we screw this Earth up. Next one is very disconcerting. AI fighter just obliterated human Air Force pilot in simulated dogfight. An AI-controlled virtual fighter just beat a human pilot in a dogfight.
I am a robot.
The win came about during the finals of the U.S. military Alpha Dogfight Challenge, put by the Defense Advanced Research Project Agency, DARPA, in which a big-name military contracts, including Lockheed Martin, competed for the crown. The winning company is Huron Systems, emerging as victor with a fighter jet AI by defeating a human fighter pilot called his call sign was Banger, who was sitting inside a simulator wearing a VR headset. 5 rounds to 0. Oh, he sucked compared to them. So they fought 5 times and he lost all 5. So that gives me real chalk one up to our robot overlords.
Citizens of the Earth, you will be destroyed.
If they decide to destroy us, we can't get Maverick to go up there to save our lives. His ass is going to get shot down. Your ass is going to get shot down. We need more like Han Solo. But I doubt it. So that is not very good news for the human race. It is good news for humans. They don't have to die. I mean, as long as we have the tech of AI, it's going to always take the steam out of our enemies. If they can't kill us, if they can't draw blood, that every time they do, after all the trouble of trying to finally beat something of ours, that there was no human inside. They just shut down a robot while we're killing 20 millions of their people, that we're slaying them and drawing their blood on the battlefield. Their heart might not be into fighting us. So, just a thought. Does no good if someone bullies you and you can't hit them back. So, okay, enough of that. Earth energy. Florida is releasing almost 1 billion gene-hacked mosquitoes. This sounds like a beginning of a horror movie. Local authorities in Florida Keys just approved a plan for biotech companies Oxtec to release more than 700 million genetically altered mosquitoes over the next 2 years. The Environmental Protection Agency approved the pilot project back in May after a year-long approval process. The goal is to use mosquitoes that have their genes altered so that the female offsprings die in the larva stage, meaning that the population could die. And that's targeting a special kind of mosquito carrying the Zika virus, dengue virus, and yellow fever. So I don't know. I'm pretty sure some environmentalists, yes, but environmental rights activists are condemning the plan, raising concerns that the engineered mosquitoes could disrupt and harm nearby ecosystems. I mean, if they don't know that, it just, like I said, I mean, are we saying that mosquitoes have no use? And they're just a mistake by evolution or by God, whatever you believe? And then we get rid of them all, and then suddenly, oh, we fucked up. We should have kept the mosquitoes because of this or that. They might, as they sting us, they might put some kind of antibodies that keeps us resistant to certain diseases, and we get rid of them all, and then that disease comes, and then we're fucked. So, not good. I hope they were 1 year long to figure out whether this is going to work or not. Doesn't seem long enough. Nothing in brain technology I want to talk about. What is this? Human home workout cardio trainer tool has arrived. Do I really want to read this? It looks like people are attached to straps. I don't want to read this. It looks goofy. I want to look cool when I'm working out. I want something that's going to make me buff. Shut up. A mysterious space signal just woke up again, as predicted. Over 5 years ago, researchers had been very close following a type of strange radio signal emitting from a deep space. Astronomers referred to this puzzling signal as fast radio bursts, or FRBs. They're pulse of radio waves that only last fraction of a second. Okay, there are pulse radio waves that only last for a fraction of a second. They're pulse of radio waves that only last a fraction of a second. And to this day, their origins remain a mystery. Do I have the bump? Let me see. Hold on. Hold the shit. I think I got that. Dun, dun, dun. Let me see. Sick feeling? No, not. Let me see. Blah, blah, blah. Rim shot. Scary. No, that's not it. Whatever. I guess I gotta put it. I'll put it in for the next podcast. Okay, enough of that. Oh shit. Get out of here.
Engage.
No, it's the wrong one. Whatever. Okay, so. Alright, that's very interesting, but not compelling. Oh, hold on. Was that the only thing I wanted to read? It said NASA amused by a galaxy that looks like a TIE fighter. It sort of does. I'm not going to go deep into that. Earth is moving through radioactive debris of exploded stars. I think it's been doing that since history of time. So, scientists, unfortunately, bacteria scream when they die. All right, so when you wipe it off your counter, they're going, "Don't kill me." Mommy. Something like that. Maybe not. I think that took that too far. Doctors confirmed the first time that patients caught COVID twice. Whatever. I really don't want to talk about that. This is interesting. 40,000 Russians are about to get an untested COVID vaccine. Sucks to be Russian. What can I tell you? NASA still hasn't found the darn leak in the space station. Let me just read this. NASA is still struggling to find a leak in the segment of the space station. The good news is that the air is leaking out of the segment very slowly, I guess. And NASA is downplaying the risk. But the bad news is that they still haven't found it yet. forcing the NASA crew to spend yet another night in the Russian segment of the station. Oh shit, you know those guys. The Russians are eating borscht and vodka and farting it up. I bet they're hating it. Comrade, come over here. Eat this borscht. You need to eat some borscht. Take this vodka. You Americans, come and drink. Mother Russia. Whatever. That was thoroughly unfunny. News comes after NASA what? I know what that word says, but I can't say it. Evacuated. Okay. My mind did a fart. Maybe because I shouldn't be doing Russian farts. Comrade. The news comes from NASA evacuating a segment of the station last week. Direct its crew to spend the weekend in the Russian segment while the space agency tries to identify the patch and the source of the leak. Come on. Haven't you seen sci-fi movies? You're supposed to put water in the air and it flows to the leak. Come on. We know this. Or like somebody smoke a cigarette, blow it up and see where the smoke goes out on. It should be pulling out air. You know? Come on. This is common sense. This is Sci-Fi 101, amateur hour. I need to go up into space and tell these people know what to do, how to run shit. Mining lunar ice could irrevocably. Fuck, I can't read today. Not that I was a good reader in the first place. Irrevocably damage the moon's environment. Well, yeah, if you dig deep enough, assholes. NASA and other space agencies move towards their goal of setting up shop on the moon. Questions remain how scientists and settlers will actually survive once they get there. Experts have floated the idea that ice on the moon poles could be harvested for drinking water. But now NASA argues that the scientific potential of the polar ice is potentially too great of a jeopardy, as harvesting some of the ice would run some risk of contaminating the rest. Okay. Last month, NASA released a new directive, the guidelines designated to protect any world explored by a crew of robotic mission. The directive declares that the polar ice region have tremendous value for a scientific perspective and ought to be protected. Okay. So we'll just use a little bit until we are advanced enough to pull it from other sources. You know? Come on. This is space we're talking about. Unless the moon's going to fall to the earth and change some kind of, what happens on Earth. I just don't see the logic in not pulling out the ice so we can drink it, because it's going to be very hard to pull up so many. I mean, we're planning to put a big space station up on the moon that people are going to need to drink water. And to ship it up there doesn't seem good to take that much water from Earth and take it out of Earth. So, you want to keep your water on Earth if it's all possible, and bring it back, whether it's in the form of pee or shit, whatever, or food. You're bringing it back to Earth. But we can take it from the moon. Just leave it on the moon. But I don't know what they think is going to happen. So, but I guess they're going to hold us back even longer with these ideas. Whatever. I'm just getting annoyed with all these laws. We're not even there yet. Blue Origin engineers delivered a full-scale prototype moon lander for NASA. Blue Origin led human landing system. The Blue Origin led human landing system, the HLS, national team just delivered to NASA a full prototype of a lander that could one day carry American astronauts to the surface of the moon. The 40-foot full-scale mock-up is made of two different components. The ascent element, the AE, and the descent element. The mock-up will primarily serve as a platform to test out crew operations and how to get astronauts' equipment and supplies off and on the vehicle. Awesome. There's a picture of it. Elon at SpaceX just reused a single booster for the 6th time. Okay, SpaceX just beat its own record by reusing the single Falcon first stage for the 6th time. The rocket was part of the company's 11th Starlink mission, carrying 58 internet beaming satellites, as well as 3 SkySat for private Earth imaging company Planet into orbit. It took off exactly at 10:30 Eastern Standard Time from Cape Canaveral Air Force Station in Florida. So yeah, that's good. That's gonna make space more affordable. Because that's one of the most expensive things is those booster rockets that get you out of Earth's orbit, that fly against gravity, for them to come back down and land, and you don't need the crew to pick it up, and plus the damages that it caused to itself when it lands into the sea coming from high altitudes. It lands perfectly by itself, and they can reuse it again. Buck Rogers, right? Flash Gordon. We're in the era. We'll see what happens. But that's good news. Let's see here. Just don't want to leave anything on the floor. Just miniature surgery robot was inspired by origami. Oh yeah, here's the one I wanted to read. A fully scaled 9,000-pound mech suit looks incredibly amazing, and it does. It looks like a spider, and this guy is so small. That thing, you watch Aliens? You know, Aliens 2, where Sigourney Weaver fights the mother alien. And she said, "Get away from her, you bitch." And she got this I guess she's like a forklifter. Well, this thing looks bigger than that. And engineering from Fusion has built a massive 4-legged mech suit called Prosthesis. Okay. 9,000-pound monstrous straight out of Pacific Rim, and it wants you to pilot it. The company recently put out a Kickstarter asking enthusiasts if they would like to help them build a global racing league that would pit multiple classes of athletes head-to-head competition through complex technical obstacle courses wearing the giant-powered mech suit. Depending on the level of commitment, fans are able to receive a one-on-one mech pilot training or watch the action unfold in person in live events. Oh, so he wants to create a fight league, I guess. That's where it's going to end up. I know he didn't say fight league. They want to do over obstacle courses, but we already have robots fight league already, where they try to destroy each other's robot. You think they're not going to do it with the mech suit? Of course they are. So we'll see if that happens. That looks interesting. I'll watch the pay-per-view. Let's see. Last but not least, we're going to end it with here. The U.S. Army scientist U.S. Army scientist brags that he's trying to build the bad guy from Terminator 2. What? And the Army engineer worked on soft robotics says that his work is directly inspired by the T-1000 shape-shifting robot villain from 1991's James Cameron's blockbuster Terminator 2. Frank Garden, an aerospace engineer and an Army Combat Capability Development Command, the CCDD Army Research Laboratory, is leading a project to develop robots out of flexible, self-repairing, and self-reconfiguring material. Oh shit, he's actually trying to do that. Guardian envisions self-repairing drones and other uncrewed aircraft, but the ultimate goal is machines with reconfiguring characteristics of the T-1000 character in Hollywood films, Terminator 2. There is this guy. It's going to screw us. Oh my God.
I am a robot.
Citizens of the Earth, you will be destroyed.
I mean, what are we doing? What are we doing? Recreating Michael Biehn coming at us? You know, Schwarzenegger couldn't handle him, you know? He needed that little kid on his side. What are we going to do? What the fuck are we going to do when we have the Terminator 2 coming after you? Ooh, yeah. I don't know, folks. Doesn't sound too smart. You create a robot that's like liquid. I don't know. He didn't say that, but it has. I don't know how it can. I don't know how it's not going to refigure itself with in not some kind of fluid state. It's going to have to be a fluid state if it's reconfiguring and repairing itself and reconfiguring itself to take any form. I mean, that whatever it's doing the reconfiguring has to be something fluid. So yeah, he's trying to build the T2 Terminator T-1000, and that won't bode well for our enemies. And when our robot overlords take over, it will not bode well from us. I mean, he's taking it from the movies where the robot overlords really kicked our ass and tried to subdue us. And I don't think John Connor is a real person. So we're in trouble. Screw you, robot overlords. So, my friends, my fellow Americans, I'm going to end it there. It's enough talking from me. I need to shut up now and rest and hibernate in my coffin. Yeah. So let me give you the last part of Joe Biden's acceptance speech for the Democratic nomination.
Oi, 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 oi.
And there you got it, folks. Very inspirational. I feel inspired. So, my friends, until next time, we're going to talk about the Republican National Convention, and I will try to be as judgmental as I was on this one, as much as possible, and try to be fair and balanced. But, you know, I'm a conservative libertarian, so you mean, how fair? You mean, it's not going to be really fair and balanced. But hey, if you want to follow me on any of my social media platforms, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, just put in James Salazar Media. I should come up. So my friends, when the storm of life... Oh, and wait a minute, stop myself. please leave a review on the podcast and subscribe to the podcast and subscribe on all those media platforms so you can follow me. So until then, my friends, when the storm of life come against you and you find yourself on your knees, stand tall. Look at that storm and say what my sensei Jack Burton always says, give me your best shot. Strike the music.